Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Horror Friendly Podcast. My name is Katie, and I am joined by Chantel. Hello.
Hello.
And Chantel only.
Chantel alone.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. What have you been up to?
Just like the usual sort of December-y, getting ready for Christmas, getting prepared. All the usual running around, seeing people. It's been really nice, to be fair. Like considering last Christmas we couldn't see anyone, and I actually did you, me, and Charlie. Like we had like 12 hours or something until lockdown, and I came and dropped presents off on Charlie's doorstep, and you met us there. And this year,
It's insane.
We've been able to meet up and everything. So what a change!
I know. What a difference a year makes. God, yeah, I know. We all just had to meet each other on the doorstep. It was like depressing. We couldn't even go in her house or anything. It was like,
put the present on the floor, wipe it down,
yeah.
Step away, somebody else come and get it.
God.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was mad.
But we got through it. It's a new year. And
what
now we can actually see each other at Christmas.
Sorry, I keep interrupting. What have you been up to?
Kind of the same, really. What have I been up to? Just getting ready for Christmas. We're so close now. And we're very close to Christmas, which is good. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
And I think we've picked an extremely creepy, like the creepiest Christmas film I think we could find.
Yeah.
We didn't go with something nice and lighthearted. We thought we'd go full throttle.
Why would we do that?
Yeah, we wouldn't do that. Just wouldn't happen.
No. So the film we have chosen to cover this week is Black Christmas, the 1974 version. As winter break begins, a group of sorority sisters, including Jess and the often inebriated Barb, begin to receive anonymous lascivious phone calls. Initially, Barb eggs the caller on, but stops when he responds threateningly. Soon, Barb's friend Claire goes missing from the sorority house, and a local adolescent girl is murdered, leading the girls to suspect a serial killer, not a Kirill Silla, is on the loose, but no one realizes just how near the culprit is. That was a very long description compared to some of the ones.
It was. You just basically explained the whole plot.
And that's the plot done.
The end. How many spooks?
So Katie, what were your first impressions? Sorry, we've got a little bit to do before we can get to the end.
Sorry, guys.
What were your first impressions?
I think I watched this quite late. Like I only watched it for the first time last year, and I really like it. It's so good. Like it creeps me out so much. Just those phone calls, they just really creep me the fuck out. And I was quite surprised because I'd seen the remake, but I'd never actually seen the original. And remakes.
Can we confirm which remake?
Yeah, because there's fucking 3 of them. But no, I'd seen I think it was 2006. I'd seen that one, but I'd never seen the original, and I'd heard it was really good. But yeah, and so then when I watched it last year, I loved it. And watching it again, it was so good because I'd only seen it one time before, so you pick up things that you might not notice. I really liked it. What about you?
So I'm even later to the party. I actually only watched it today. And it was one of those, I think, I don't know how. I think I'd always just thought I'd watched it. And there was like iconic lines in it where I was like, oh, I know that. And then I was watching it, I was like, none of this is familiar. But I do have to confess, and I've already told you this, Katie, I accidentally watched the wrong one, even though we confirmed and we made sure we knew which one we were watching. I watched the 2019 version. So not even the remake. I watched the loosely based remake that just went a completely different direction and was like, the fuck are we covering? But yeah, it wasn't the worst. Yeah. The beginning wasn't the worst. Then it took a weird turn. But the original that I watched today to make up for my error in time to record, like, there was bits of it I really liked. Bits of it that were, I can see why it's iconic. I can see why it's kind of set up the way for slashers. But there was just other bits where I was like, what, why? And it ended and I was like a little bit anticlimactic.
Okay.
So I don't know. We might talk through it, and then you might have seen stuff that I haven't, so I might have to watch it again. But I'm sorry, I hate to say this, but for me it felt a bit long, and I was just like, but I don't know again if that was to do with like pace. I don't know. So yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, let's do it. I do really like. Oh, sorry, you go.
No, I feel like that's like, I can't. It feels wrong saying that because I know how much of like a classic it is. So it feels like, yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like one that you're supposed to love, and I was like, I feel like either I'm too late to the game where it's not nostalgic, or I'm just like missing something, and I don't.
Yeah.
No.
It just maybe it was missing something for you. Maybe like with the SFX there isn't a lot to talk about, so maybe like it needs to be more gory, or who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows? But it does start, and I do love this shot. Like it just stays on the house just for ages, and I really like that. And it's just got like the carols playing in the background. And that's one thing I really like about the film, is that the carols are played sort of continuously throughout the film, even when there's like a really scary or violent scene going on. So I think it sort of sets it up quite nicely at the beginning. But it stays on, the camera stays on the house for a while. And so like, yeah, if the film title didn't give it away, then you know that it's set at Christmas.
So how many clues can we give you in 30 seconds?
I know. It's a Christmas film.
I wonder if there was like stuff we were meant to be seeing, or if like, again, I just completely missed it. Like, are we looking for something? Like, what is happening? Did the film get stuck? Like, oh, I don't know.
You get that first person perspective, which I like, and I think, well, you get the first person perspective of someone climbing up of the sorority house, and he goes in, well, who knows, they go into the attic, and I like that because again it's kind of sets it up for future slashers. So see, this came out in 1974, and like you've got Halloween at the beginning, at the beginning of Halloween there's like a first person perspective shot, and just kind of little things that they've taken from that future slashers have taken from this film, I think is quite cool. You see someone going to the attic, you're like, what's going on?
So I did actually look this bit up, because that is something of this I did really like, was all the sort of first person perspectives, the point of views. And it was actually, so the killer was always played by the cameraman, the same cameraman. And it was a guy called Burt Dunk, and he developed a body brace rig, so it would allow him to like mount the camera on his shoulder while keeping his hands free, so that he could like go around, and that's how he could like climb the rigs and use his hands and swing things and mess up the attic and do all that sort of stuff. Because I was like, that is like something clever has to be done here, because otherwise the camera is just in the way. So I did kind of like that it was obviously like a new take on something, and it was like a nice, it definitely kind of put you in a weirder thing, because just seeing stuff happen from their perspective, but also not knowing why. Like, we don't know who this is, like we don't know why they're doing it, but we are seeing it happen. It's a bit like that kind of puts you on edge, because you're like, but why are they doing it?
Yeah, you don't often see the point of view of the bad guy in horror films. You know, like I was saying with Halloween, obviously you did see that as Michael Myers as young. Well, you saw it throughout the film. You saw a perspective of him, but that's quite rare, I think, in other slasher films. You don't see that a lot. You don't see the perception of Ghostface. Like, you see the victim's side of it, or Freddy Krueger or whatever. So yeah, you really kind of like went on the journey with Billy in this film, I think.
But that's what's even weirder, is like, normally, if you see their perspective, it's either because they're trying to get you to see their, like, literally their point of view and feel sorry for them, which you just don't in this one, or you see the killer's side and you see what they're up to, whereas this one we just didn't know what they were doing.
You didn't know anything about his past, only from the phone calls, which you kind of start to get an idea, but you don't know much, so that's quite I quite like that.
And then and we see all the girls in the sorority having a party,
partying it up. What do you think of sororities? They're weird things, aren't they?
Yeah, they seem like a really weird thing because
like we were frats.
Because we were never in them, but it was also, I don't even know if we knew they were real. Do you know what I mean? It just seemed like something that was only in movies. But I kind of like the idea of having like a group of girls living together. Like I kind of love that. But I don't know if and again, I did like Seasons where you kind of get bunged in with people you don't know. So it's great. It's a good way to meet people, but I don't know if I'd just rather pick people to live with rather than being shoved in with a bunch of randomers.
Yeah,
I don't know. What do you make of sororities?
I don't know. Like they're just, I think I get like the stereotypical view of like a fraternity, like a frat, like your typical frat guy. I think that's what I'm thinking in my head, but I'm sure a lot of them really are not like that. But I don't know. They're strange things. You're just sort of bunched together with these people and you're just expected to get on with them. But like you say, I do really like the idea of like just girls sticking together and like living together, and then you feel a bit safer. But not in this film. You don't feel particularly safe, but you do for a little bit.
I think that's the thing. So unfortunately, in the film, sororities are either used as like the party movies and the teen flicks, or the horrors. So I'm not really sure which side I'd want. Like probably the teen flick, always having parties, but then they're questionable. And it's like, but the horror side, you're like, this isn't great either. So hopefully the reality is somewhere in the middle.
I know, hopefully. I mean, we're not from America, we don't know. But if anyone out there is part of one, then hit us up, let us know what it's like.
What is it really like? But I didn't even do uni in England. Do we have anything like that? Do we just have clubs? I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't go to uni either. Don't know.
I have to ask my sister. She's the smart one.
I know. I need to ask my brother. He's the smart one.
There you go. We'll look up
They're
to
the ones
siblings.
that went to uni.
They're the ones that made the parents proud.
But we've got a podcast. I will say that so Jess is like our girl, our final girl, our main girl. She is played by Olivia Hussey, who was also in It. And I really recognized her from something. But she was in that. And I think she's been in like, loads of other stuff as well. But I've seen her in It. So there we go.
I didn't even click that.
Yeah. And Barb is played by Margot Kidder. She was Lois Lane in Superman, Amityville Horror. She's been in loads of stuff as well. She was in loads of stuff. But and it's got John Saxon in. John Saxon, who's in From Dusk Till Dawn and Nightmare on Elm Street. Fuck yeah.
It does seem to be, if someone's like in a horror, they do seem to turn up in a few more. So I don't know if there's just like more fun behind the scenes. Like I can imagine for us it would be, because we'd be like, let's play with the gore and shit. But I don't know. It seems, or maybe it's just because if they get along with the directors, I guess they get recast a lot.
I think so. I also think horror films are quite a specific genre, and people do, if they enjoy like their first time, they tend to go back to them. So like when you think of like horror icons, like think of the amount of horror films that they would have been in, and Scream Queens and things. So there must be something that makes them want to go back and
I suppose it's the same the other way, isn't it? You always get like the same sort of actors and actresses who just only turn up in like rom-coms or I was gonna say fantasy, but I can't think of people who like only stick with fantasy, but you know what I mean? There's
definitely. I think it works in all different ways. But John Saxon. But anyway.
Hey, quiet! It's him again, the Mona!
So Jess answers a phone call that the girls have received. And they call it the Mona. So they've received calls from him before. They're familiar with him.
But what I love as well, she's like, guys, it's him, it's the Mona. They all come running and then shush each other. I'm like, you've just shouted that the Mona's on the phone. And now you're hushed. Like, what? It's like the
Yeah.
kid in class that shouts at everyone to shut up, and you're like, you are literally the loudest person right now. Like, what? He heard that.
I know.
But would you not hang up?
Yeah.
I know there wouldn't be much of
Probably would.
there wouldn't be much of a film without it, but would you not hang up?
Can you imagine at the end?
Girls, we're moving house at the end.
Yeah, no, you 100% would.
Maybe they've tried that though, because I feel like, yeah, like you said, they've said like it's him again, so he's obviously called before. And actually, I think if it did happen over and over, I probably would be like Barbara. I'd just be like, start fucking with him, and just like start being nearly aggro, because I'm like, no, it's like when like scam callers just start ringing you all the time, and you start polite, and then because you're like, it's a job, it's an asshole job, but it's a job nonetheless. Like, and then you just have to start being a dick back because you're like, you're clearly not taking no for an answer. So maybe they have politely told him to stop, and he just wasn't.
And this is a shit argument, like with everything, but also it was a different time. Like nowadays, you could obviously block the caller, you could do a lot more. Whereas back then, I suppose you weren't sort of treated as fairly as a woman, and maybe police and, they wouldn't take you as seriously. So maybe they just thought they'd have to just put up with it.
Well, this was
as
it,
women
because
usually have to do.
That wouldn't have even been a crime, because they're like, well, he's not doing anything. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they wouldn't have done anything about it. So, the joys.
The joys. But yeah. And then, so what do you make of the killer's calls? Like, what do you make of this one? Because it's just sort of like rants and different voices.
Let me lick your pretty picky cunt.
So the calls were I can't even remember where I got this from. If I find the name, I will post it. The calls were mixed by composer Cole Zitra, and the voices were done by actor Nick Mancuso. And he actually auditioned with his back to the director because he wanted him to hear his voice, not see him, which I think kind of makes sense when you are literally auditioning just for that role. And so it was him and other uncredited performers. And so according to Mancuso, one of the ways he achieved a particularly creepy vocal effect was to perform calls upside down, because he would like put pressure on his thyrox, on his throat. So yeah, it would make the sounds come out like worse because it would be like pressure. So it was like, I appreciate the dedication that he was willing to like do that.
Yeah.
It does make it weirder.
Oh, it does. Oh God, they just scare the shit out of me, those calls. And now like I'm picturing the actor doing it upside down. It just creeps me out even more because it's just so weird. And oh yeah, it's like he's doing like a monologue and he's like acting out this fucking, I don't know, he's like shouting, and then he does a voice, he does a woman's voice, then goes back to a man's, does a child's voice. But I mean, this particular call, the first one, is more of a sexual sort of, well, it's more of a sexual, it's completely sexual, it's disgusting, it's creepy, it's gross. But it's funny that this is one of the only ones that is sexual. The others are more just creepy, just like more about like Billy's past, it seems. Because the director, which we'll get to later, but he actually had a little backstory for Billy, which is focused more on the remake, but you know a bit about it in the actual film. And he starts to kind of talk, like the phone calls become more about like, well, less about sex with the girls, whereas this particular one was aggressively sexual.
Like, and again, as they said, like it's happened before, so I wonder if it was one of those things that gets like more aggressive. And
yeah,
it's the same as like psychopaths and killers and stuff. Sorry, I shouldn't say all psychopaths, because some psychopaths don't kill. But it's the same with like killers, where they tend to start, they start with an animal or something and work their way up. Like, so it is almost like he's doing that, like he's testing, like if he just moans and then he starts putting in some words, and like you say, it's kind of like him ranting to himself. And then they become more and more aggressive. But they also seem to get worse after Barb antagonizes him, which I'm absolutely not saying was her fault. I'm not blaming her. Like, but because she seems to antagonize him is when he then gets like really aggressive. And yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, he seemed to enjoy that she got aggressive because she was like feeding it. Like obviously she was just trying to show like, no, you're disgusting, you're a pervert, like fuck off. But he enjoyed that, and so it made it worse.
It's almost like now he had a reason and he was allowed to now be aggressive because he was, like if a girl reacts, suddenly you're allowed to be aggressive. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. Like,
yeah. I did kind of think that there's a lot of kind of like violence against women sort of like connotations in the film, like that it is based around this one guy. And you've got like this like women sort of army of people in a house, and then this one guy, and then the cool bisexual, and it's kind of like it is a lot more like it's deeper than you think it is. You think it's just like a creepy phone call, but like when you actually think about it, it's like it's just gross.
It is some guy just trying to like show off his power in it, and it's like, well, and again, we don't know, unless I completely missed it. We don't know like what he's trying to do, but we can assume.
No, like I know a bit of his backstory only after sort of reading up about it, and the phone calls make more sense now that I've read about it. And that's what I think is ultimately just really scary about this film, is that like he's just going after these women for no reason, but he himself is extremely troubled and extremely disturbed. But these women, like there's no connection there. It's just that he just wants to do what he wants to do. But yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we were introduced to Billy on the phone and Barb tries to wind him up, which just eggs him on more. And then we're also introduced to Claire Harrison. I've got her last name here as well for some reason. But yeah, she says about like the call could be dangerous. But she's about to leave. She leaves, I think. She's about to leave for the Christmas break, the sorority house, and then goes upstairs to pack her stuff.
Oh, yes, she does.
Yes. I never get this when people are packing their stuff away. She literally like picked up loads of hangers and like put them on in her suitcase. Why do people do that?
I have no idea. I've moved a lot. I've never packed stuff on hangers. I kind of get the idea that obviously if you're going from like uni back to your folks' house for Christmas, I guess you could just pick it up and hang it again, but it doesn't pack easily. I don't get it. I've never packed like that.
I don't know, people in movies do that and I don't know why.
They do it all the time. Is this like a really normal thing that you and I, is it like a really good packing hack that we just don't know?
Maybe.
But it annoys me, like it's a movie thing as well, where there's always like, oh, I emptied, like someone's gone to stay somewhere for a day or a night, maybe two, and they're like, I've emptied a drawer out for you to use. And I'm like, who unpacks for a day? Who is not just living out of the bag? Like I've gone places for a week and lived out of the bag. Who is unpacking? I come and stay at your house all the time. I don't literally be like, Katie, clear out a drawer for me. I don't get it.
I should.
Maybe you should. I should have a drawer at yours by now. I just wear your clothes. But I don't understand how people pack like that, or why they unpack at the other end. I'm like, you're there for like, I kind of get it if you're home for like a few weeks. But
which they might have been because it was the Christmas break. But
yeah, but that's more my drawer argument, not my why she's packing like, I don't know why she's packing like that. Maybe she was in a hurry. But
maybe.
I don't know. Do they only have one set of hangers? They just take them between houses? I don't know.
I don't know.
Is it a uni student thing? I don't know.
I don't know. So many questions.
Can we have, please, someone who's in a sorority tell us how they pack to get home for Christmas and summer?
Yes, please tell us. We want to know. We need the answers.
Tell us about a sorority. We have.
Yeah,
questions.
exactly. I don't know anything about one.
I know nothing. They seem so like just. Yeah, it just seems like something from the movies, and then it's suddenly like, oh,
exactly,
this is a real thing.
Exactly. Yeah, so Claire's packing in a weird way. We've decided. But I think this is when, because she gets distracted by the cat. There's a cat in her room. It must just be like the fraternity cat.
Did we ever see the cat?
We didn't see the cat again. Did the cat die? Did Billy kill the cat?
Oh, maybe. maybe because they all just keep looking for this cat that I swear we never fucking see.
I know.
Like, if you just got rid of the cat at the beginning, there wouldn't have been a problem. Like, sorry, this is why I'm more of a dog person. I'm not going to chase my cat to the
Yeah,
attic.
I am too. Don't worry about
Stay
it.
out the fucking attic.
Well, she's just in her room. I think the cat's just chilling in her room.
Oh yeah.
And then like, yeah, she goes back to the wardrobe again. Biddy is there and suffocates her with a plastic bag,
Ugh,
which is not
horrible.
ideal.
Horrible way to go.
Horrible, horrible, horrible. And then he moves her body to the attic. So that's where she is on that rocking chair.
Yeah.
And she's got like the plastic bag over her face.
I like
Which yeah.
right by the window. That was the bit that like every time they did an outside shot, you're like looking for her because you're like, you can see her. They haven't hidden her, but nobody's looking at the top window, which we've established
No, I
in previous
know.
films.
Yeah, it's pretty when it pans out, it's pretty obvious that she's there, isn't it?
Yeah. But again, because we started there. So it's like, oh my God.
But yeah, that's because that was what the poster's based off of, is her in the Claire in the chair.
Claire in
So,
the
yeah.
chair.
Claire in the
bag
chair.
and nowhere.
But what did you think of like the house mother? I can't remember her name. I'm sorry, guys.
I love her. I think she's my spirit animal, just like hiding booze around the house. Although drinking out of the toilet does seem a bit desperate. But if you looked after like 20 teenage girls, I think you'd be drinking too, just like slowly walking around the house.
But why is she hiding it? Like she's got Barb around the house, literally just necking drink.
That's your answer. That's why she's hiding it. She's got Barb.
Yeah, Barb will literally just like nab any alcohol possible.
Was it just me though, or the book where she was like alcohol? The book actually looked like a bottle of wine. Like it looked like it had like the label looked like a wine label and it was quite a dark color. I was like, that just looks like a bottle of red, or I've drunk too much. But I thought she was quite funny, and I thought she was like, as the film goes on, and then when she meets like a few other characters and she's kind of like defending the girls. And there's clearly other people who don't approve of the way the girls act, and she's just like all here for it, and she's like, fuck it, like let them be. And I kind of love that because she's obviously here for them to have a good time but stay safe. So I think she's a good character. I like her.
I like her as well.
Yeah.
I don't actually dislike many characters in this film. I think all the girls are great. I think Barb's fucking great.
Yeah.
I love her so much.
I love her.
Though actually she did make a bit of a weird comment about rape, which I thought was a bit out of character.
I know the one you
said,
mean.
Yeah, it's like they talk about these horror stories because obviously they've just heard that horrible phone call, and one of the girls is like, I think it's Claire, who says, a girl was raped recently, and she says you can't rape a townie. It's like, nah, Barb, that's not cool.
It's not cool. I also have no idea what that fucking means. Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, no, that
no.
So,
I really loved her character, but I was disappointed with that. But maybe it was meant to show that she gets a bit nastier when she drinks, or I don't know.
Maybe. And I was like, and again, without putting a lame excuse on it, is it like back in those days people believed that, like, oh, you know, certain rapes don't count for some fucking fucked up logic. And actually it took a scarily long time for people to realize it doesn't matter if he's your husband, it can still be rape. So things like that, and just like comments, and it's like, but girls believed it as well because it was so normalized. Even people who were the you know, prominent victims, obviously males and everyone as well. But even I don't know what I'm saying. I'm rewording things. We're making the same point with different wording.
Also, I'm sorry, I know we need to move on, but I do also love how Jess answers the phone.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Because I do get it. Like, if you do get continuously those creepy calls, you are defensive, but she'll be like, hello, hello, like the second ring. And she'll like, fucking... and sometimes it will just be a normal call and she'll be like, hello.
To be fair, have you never done that? I can't even remember why I did it. I got really I had like a random number come up on my phone once, and I literally answered like yes, because I was expecting it to be like a telemarketer, and it was someone who was literally waiting to call me back, and I was like, I'm really sorry.
But she's just like, hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, I was like, you would if people were being like quiet.
Absolutely.
You would be like, hello,
Yeah.
hello, answer me, you bitch, hello. Like,
Yeah.
I would get aggy.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, then we got the next day. So Claire's dad arrives because she's supposed to be going back. That's what she was packing for. To pick up.
Just throw it in the car. Like,
Yeah,
still on its
Dad, you can
hangers.
look after it. But she's a no-show. I mean, we know she's chilling in the attic upstairs, but we're the only ones that know that.
But actually, even at the end, he still doesn't know what's happened to her.
No, that's true.
Oh,
He
that's really
doesn't.
sad.
It is really sad.
Yeah, but he's definitely like, he's a dad in the sense that, like, he makes a comment of, I didn't send her here to drink and hang out with boys, and
Yes.
it's like, you don't see you see her as your daughter, you don't see her as a woman, a person.
No.
But that's where I love the house mother, where she's just like straight up defending her, and she's like, I'm just going to lean on this.
Yeah, the girls are fine.
Yeah, I'm going to lean on this nude photo poster so daddy doesn't see. And it's like, even with your hand there, you can see everything. Like,
I know. I love, she's got the girls' backs, definitely.
no, she does.
Which I do like that. I like how all the girls have each other's backs as well in this. It was quite nice to see. But yeah, I love that. I love that little like interaction between those two. Because obviously he's just looking for a daughter, and I think the mum is kind of like the comic relief to this a little bit, because it is quite an intense film. It's quite, well, scary if you think it is. I think it is. So I think it's quite a nice little relief to have her on it as well.
Yeah. Well, because he offers her a lift somewhere, I've forgotten already.
Yes.
And she starts like screaming and shouting at the cat. And he comes up the stairs and just, thank you so kindly, sir. I fucking love her so much.
Because I think she like swears at the cat or something.
Like multiple times.
Here, kitty. Oh, God damn it, Claude, you little prick. This is very kind of you, Mr. Harrison.
And then he just catches her and it's like, hello.
You caught me at a bad time.
Yeah, literally. Give me 5 minutes and I'll be back again.
Oh, and we also find out that Jess, our main girl, she's preggers.
Big news.
Preggers. And yeah.
Where is Jess from, or what accent is she doing?
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Because I thought she was doing a British accent, but because it was an American film is why it sounded so like over the top. But
she is English. She was born in Argentina.
Oh.
But she's English. She's, yeah.
So that's an English accent. It's just weird when we hear it. It's always weird, actually, when you hear an English accent in an American film, because the American sounds so normal to us, and then the English sounds like the odd one out, and I couldn't play. At some point, she sounded French, and I was like, what is happening?
She was doing it to fuck with you.
Literally, she was like, if I just slightly tweak my accent, the English will be like, huh?
What? What is going on here?
Here's a map of England, throw a dart and pick up that accent. Because this is the other thing. England doesn't have like one accent, despite what the American films tell you. We have like a different accent every 5 miles. Like listen to you, me, and Charlie. We all grew up like 20 minutes, half an hour apart. And we have 3 very different accents.
We do. Yeah, we do actually.
It doesn't make sense. So it's like, good luck, England. And that's why I think, I don't know, they always just sound weird in the American films, because I'm like, what are you doing? Where are you from?
Yeah, I know. But and then we meet Peter, who's Jess's boyfriend. Like, I'm sorry, Jess can do so much better than that. Like, he's a little like dick.
He's a big dick.
I don't like Peter.
I'm putting it down to one of those things where, like, when you're in college or high school or school, like, you don't date the best guy. Like, I know there's a few people who date like their childhood
I
sweethearts
know.
forever.
Wow, he looks about 50.
Yeah, but actually, yeah, maybe he wasn't a student.
He-
Maybe he was like older.
Well, the actor was a lot older, but he looks so fucking old.
But I'm putting it
Like-
down to that. Like, she's young. She's really firm with him though as well. Where she's like, "We'll talk
Yeah.
tomorrow. We'll do it." So I really like that. But yeah, like, it's not going to be a lasting relationship, is it?
No, and he thinks that he has some sort of like say in what she does, whether she gets an abortion, whether she keeps the baby. And he's like, how dare you not like run this by me first? And it's kind of back to all of that stuff again, where like in the olden times, maybe you would, I don't know, speak to whoever about it first. And obviously, you know, if you would want to speak to someone about it, that's cool. But also it is the woman's choice, which Peter doesn't get. But yeah, he like tells her to leave just because she's thinking of having an abortion. She's like, I want a career. I don't want this right now. And he's just not fucking having it.
No, but that's the thing for the 70s. Like, you know, you didn't pick a career, you picked children, you picked a husband, and that was it. And you lived happily ever after, apparently. So it is actually really forward thinking. Like, these girls, they, you know, like we said, they stick together. They've all got each other's backs. Barb's a gobby little shit standing up for everyone. The house mother's like, I don't need no man. I've got my girls. And here they are, like, making these decisions about their futures, which was unheard of. Normally your future would have been decided for you. And
Yeah.
you just went with it. Like, God forbid you ended up
Mm.
pregnant in school or college, they'd have married you off. So
Yeah.
this
That's
is
true.
big. This is big.
I'm going to have an abortion.
You can't make a decision like that. You haven't even asked me.
So he is an asshole. And I feel like for the 70s, he you know, he did feel entitled to be part of that decision. But at the end of the day, it's her body. So no.
Exactly. But I did like that they gave her a story, like a backstory, of, and particularly of being pregnant as well, because you, especially around that time, I think I've mentioned it before in other slashers we've covered, but you do think of the final girl as someone innocent, someone that it has a love interest, but has, you know, maybe has the boyfriend, but they haven't made things official yet. Sydney Prescott, I'm looking at you.
That's
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. That is so true, though. It's such a good point.
And
They're
like,
normally innocent.
Yeah, and it shows that you don't have to live up to that ridiculous final girl stereotype where you have to be a virgin, you have to be innocent. Like, she has sex and she likes sex, but she's also a fucking amazing final girl. She doesn't live up to those ridiculous
Wasn't she-
expectations of a final girl.
Wasn't she like one of the first final girls?
She must have been, because this was one of the first slashers to set up the rest of the slashers. So I don't know where, like, I guess down the line that's where the stereotype came
Yeah.
from. But
So they actually undid. The final girls actually started peak, and then they actually undid that.
yeah, well, it's the girls that have sex, they're the ones that die first. The guys have sex, they're the ones that die first. So it was I know it was one of the first slasher films, but it was refreshing to see that they didn't do what all their other future films did.
Yeah, no, I never even clocked that.
So Mr. Harrison, so Claire's dad, tries to report Claire as missing, and they also find out at the same time that another younger girl, I think she was like a schoolgirl, has also vanished. So she's disappeared when walking from at home. So there's something going on here.
Yeah. Do we think that was also Billy? Do we know if that was also Billy, or was that just there's actually
I
two
don't know,
on the
but-
loose?
Well, it seems, I imagine it probably was Billy.
I wonder, actually, that would make sense, because then that's why he's hiding in the attic.
Yeah, and he's probably done it to throw them off, maybe.
Does that make sense?
Mm.
But it's when they're like at the house, and Barb's getting drunk, and she's like blaming herself for the girl disappearing. She's like, she's getting really shitty, and he's like, you're all gonna blame me and all this. So like, because I can't remember what she said to her, but she did say something quite not mean before she left.
Yeah.
It was, but yeah, she didn't leave on great terms, although she didn't leave at all. So yeah, now Barb's starting to blame it on herself, which is not her fault at all, actually. And in fact, she hasn't left at all.
No.
So,
No, it's starting to turn into a bit of a messy situation. So people are panicking. They don't know where Claire is. It's been like a day now, and now someone else is missing. But yeah, as you say, Barb is pretty drunk. They're back at the house, so they put Barb to bed, and Claire's dad, Chris, Jess, and Phil help search for the missing girl. So they're trying to find her. And at this point, we go back to the house mother, and her death scene.
it's really sad because she sees the girl first and she sees that she's clearly been murdered. You can just see her heart like breaks because she's like, fuck, like this is, she's
Yeah.
dead. It's not just that she's not here. And then she does that really slow turn.
Oh,
But it's fucking,
yeah.
it's almost comical how her, like, just because how her legs get like pulled up out through the trap door. But again, it's just the 70s and the effects, but it just crap. It shouldn't have crapped me. It was not meant to be funny, but it's like, wee, like clearly a dummy.
I am a fan of off-screen deaths. I think when they're done well, I think sometimes they are quite effective.
I did quite like it. I don't know if it's now or later when they do a shot of Claire like sat by the window, and you can see the lady blurred in the background, and then they switch the focus so you can see the hen mother as well. And I thought that was actually really well done, but because as you said, it was like a death off screen, but then when it comes back to it, and I really like the way they set that up and showed that. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Shows that they're kind of like in it together because they're the only ones that no one knows about.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, I do quite like the cinematography in this, like the way, they use the cameras and perspective and all that. I just think it is done really well.
Yeah. But yeah, no, as you say, when she slowly turns her head and sees Claire, and she dies. She dies pretty quickly in the film. But meanwhile, while they're trying to find this missing girl, trying to find out where Claire is, they discover the body of the missing girl. Her face has been disfigured. It's not looking good for Claire because no one knows where she is either. And also at this point, Jess gets another phone call, and it's just the same old fucked up thing. Oh, I just like dreaded each phone call. It really freaked me out. Just the idea that he was in the house, really just creeped me out completely.
Like, and again, I think we said this when we covered The Boy, like two very different films, but same kind of premise. Like, just that whole idea that actually somebody could be living in your attic or living in your, I don't have an attic. Just living there without you even knowing. And it has happened. That's terrifying. That's genuinely scary. Oh, it is such a scary, it is a really scary premise. And it's like, but also if, like, how long, we don't know how long that girl's been missing for, do we?
No, I don't think so. Maybe sort of similar time.
Because as I say, if he went to hide in their attic afterwards, then obviously it's taken the police a while to like take it seriously and start looking. But now at this point, they're like, we've got a girl dead, a girl missing, and creepy phone calls. Like, we need to actually do something. Yeah.
And that's why Jess like files a police report after she gets that other phone call, which we just mentioned. And at the same time, Peter like fucking rocks up again. It's like, what does this dickhead want?
Back off, Peter.
He's like, yeah, let's get married. Let's have the baby. And she's like, you can't expect me to drop everything and have this baby with you. Shouldn't have told you, mate. Should have just carried on.
Mate, such a modern woman.
I know, I love her. I really
like,
love how she just stands her ground with it.
Yeah.
You can't ask me to drop everything I've been working for and give up all my ambitions because your plans have changed.
But yeah, he's trying to persuade her, and she is just basically completely decided that she's having this abortion. She does not want this. And then he just fucking storms off. And we have Lieutenant Fuller. He comes to the house, who obviously is played by John Saxon, our main man. So they decide to bug the phone, which I think is pretty like it's quite good of the police to do that. I
Yeah.
think I was quite surprised.
I was, especially for like, and again, I don't really know when like police technology kicked in, but I feel like the 70s was quite early for that. But
Yeah,
saying that though, they did even explain like, you know, you have to keep them on the phone for quite a while because it's
Yes.
slow. So maybe it was still quite early for that, but good enough if they could keep them on the phone. But it's like annoying
Yeah.
because if they already had it bugged for one of the early ones, some of the earlier calls went on for fucking ages.
Yeah, they did. But there is one that comes up which goes on for a long time where you do hear Billy a lot more,
Yeah.
which we'll go into when we get to it. But then Barb dies, man.
Did you? So I was watching this with my partner, and straight away he was like, "That unicorn is going through her eye," and I was actually gutted it didn't, because we were ready for it. And it was still a gruesome death, but not as gruesome if it had just gone like straight through the skull. Actually, I say that they gruesome is the gore is implied. You don't see an awful lot, but again, I kind of
No.
like the camera work in how they did it, like moving around, like she was fighting.
Yeah.
I did like that
While
side.
Jess is watching the carolers, Christmas carolers,
Yeah.
and like the comparison between that and that, I loved. Thought it
And
was
as you
so
said,
good.
and as you said earlier, like the Christmas songs were always happening in the background. So it was like
Yeah.
definitely a Christmas movie.
Yeah. It's like, by the way, it's still Christmas. It's still Christmas.
By the way, in case you've forgotten,
Yeah.
we haven't seen much. We've seen one Santa and no presents, but it's still Christmas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's one bit which the call Billy phones again, but the call's too short for them to be able to track where the call is coming from. But Billy, the caller, repeats things from her argument with Peter, which obviously makes Jess think, what the fuck? Obviously, we know why the killer, like the caller knows, but she in her head must be like, wait, he just said that to me like 2 seconds ago. What the fuck?
Like, but she says that, doesn't she? And then like, because her friend's like, I don't like him that much, but he hasn't got that in him. And it is that, isn't
Yeah.
it? Even if you don't 100% like your mate's boyfriend, you're like, but you still know if he's capable of murder.
Yeah.
But then the copper picks up on it as well, John Saxon's character, because he rings Jess and he's like, why did he say that? So you need to be honest with me so I can help you. And actually, he's one of the cops who is actually trying to help. Like, again, horror films go one way or the other with police. You either get a really good policeman or a jerk. So
Yeah.
they've gone with the good guy this time. And he's trying to help. And then he actually ends up listening in on the next call with her boyfriend, where again he's like shouting at her and all this. So then he asks for clarification, and then he also is like, actually think back to the phone calls. Has he been there for any of them, or has he always been missing? And again, it is normally the boyfriend or the husband.
Yeah.
So it's worth checking.
Yeah. And the killer, this one is where he starts to talk about two kids named Angus and Billy. And I've obviously been referring to him as Billy for a lot of this, so spoilers. But so there was actually a bit of a backstory. With a lot of it, we obviously don't know too much about Billy, and it's kind of explained more in the remake. But there was a bit of backstory. So this is from mentalfloss.com. So Bob Clark was determined to keep the killer's identity mysterious throughout Black Christmas. So other than the names Billy and Agnes, we know very little about who he is or why he kills. That doesn't mean that no information exists. According to Clark, he developed a very strong backstory for Billy that provides a subtle logic to the phone calls. Billy is abusive and abused his little sister and was abused himself, and probably killed his parents and probably locked her up in a basement for 5 or 6 years. And I think she escaped, and Billy doesn't like girls. And it turns out that Agnes doesn't like boys. So obviously a version of this backstory was explored more in the 2006 remake. But that does explain a lot more of the calls, where obviously he grew up in a very abusive household. He was abusing as well. And it just sounds like a fucked up situation. So maybe he grew up in this house and he's just come back for revenge, or I don't know. He's obviously not a fan of women, he's not a fan of girls, and just kind of thought, fuck it, let's get rid of them.
Yeah. No, like that's the thing, you can't, without any like actual reason, it would just speculating, but it could just be like one of them looked like his sister, one of them, he grew up in that house, he grew up in a house that looked like it. Do you know what I mean? It's like little things that push people, and it's just like, cool, let's go on a murder spree, because that will solve our problems.
Exactly. But then they're able to track that call, which is good. And Sergeant Nash phones Jess and tells her to leave the house. I will say, side note with Sergeant Nash, when Barb said that she lived at like Fellatio House or something like that.
It's Fellatio 20880. What? Fellatio. It's a new exchange, FE.
It's a new one on me. How do you spell it?
And they were just fucking cracked up earlier. I loved that bit.
I do love them. They're like, seriously, and he's like, what? Why? I don't get it. It's something sexual, isn't it? And it's like, oh, fuck's sake. Although I love that even when John Saxon's character, keep forgetting his name, when he's talking to the girls in the house, and then they're like, oh yeah, no, Barb's upstairs asleep, and he's like, oh, is she the one that was at the station earlier? And then they just start laughing because they clearly know what she's done, and he just smirks. He's like, maybe we'll let her sleep then. And it's something so little that, like, again, he's just like like a little nod to her picking around. That was funny.
Yeah, it's so good. But yeah, so she's obviously, they're saying just ignore everyone else, just get out of there. But she wants to check her friends are okay, because she's just a great final girl. She's a great friend.
You have to. She calls their names and like begs them to answer, and they don't. But
I know
you wouldn't believe it if you didn't see it. So
exactly.
She's got to go upstairs.
She's got to go upstairs, and she does see it. She does see Barb. She sees Phil. She sees their dead bodies.
And then she sees the eyeball. I love this bit. It's so creepy. Or it's just like
so
that
creepy
slit in the door. She sees it. And like, again, so well done. There's massive giveaway that someone's there. So she just smashes the door into them and runs for the front door. One of our few final girls that actually, she at least tried the front door. It was locked. She didn't seem to manage to turn that, like the key or unlock button quick enough. So she tries to run away and gets her hair pulled, but does get away and gets into the basement. And again, she locks herself in there. And even once she hears the door go, I like the fact she stayed. Like she wasn't like, oh, he's tricked me, but I'm going to come out. Like, no, you fucking stay and wait. So
yeah, she makes good choices, I think.
She does. Yeah, she's a really good final girl. Like that, you can't really like a lot of things that she does. You're like, that is what you would do. So it is logical.
Yeah.
So did final girls just get worse? Like what happened?
I don't know. Well, that's what we were saying earlier. Like, there's been some sort of thing in the middle where they turn into more of a stereotype, and then you've got like the slut, and you've got, the jock, and all of this bullshit, and it's like, yeah, I don't know where that came from then, if this was like the first.
They started badass, and then I don't know what happened. They all forgot how to use front doors, apparently, like running up staircases, for fuck's sake. But yeah, and then her boyfriend turns up.
Yeah, so she's in the cellar, just like, okay, I'm chilling, and then
I'm gonna call him ex-boyfriend now, because I'm pretty sure they're done. He may not accept it. I'm gonna say they're done.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that she is probably really creeped out by him, because he's really creepy.
Yeah, just a bit. Or at least I'm gonna say she.
And at this point, you do think it's him, because you think, it's got to be him. Like, that's got to be the twist. The twist. Like, that's obviously who it is. It's just he sounds a bit like him on the phone. He is a bit creepy.
He knew everything. Like,
exactly.
It had to be him. And then I can't remember exactly how this happened. Did we see it, or did the police just turn up and then we saw it?
Well, he doesn't really help himself because he like smashes the window to get in.
Yeah, that's a bit
Um,
aggressive.
Yeah, and then he like does end up seeing her and sees how scared she is, but he doesn't like try and calm her down or be like, it's okay. He's just like, is that you?
Yeah.
It's like, you're really not you're like, you're not selling yourself here.
No, also, even if she had been upstairs, he's just broke into her basement to what, come
Yeah,
and surprise
exactly.
her.
Yeah, like what does he know? Like, what is happening? Like, what was he doing?
Yeah, there is nothing innocent about him here. Like, no, like, what? Actually, yeah. How was he not the murderer?
I know, he had all the qualities.
Yeah, maybe he was going to be. He just hadn't quite yet.
Maybe he was just a bit of a strange, well, a shit boyfriend, and just
He's a strange guy.
really weird at surprising your girlfriend.
Yeah, girls like
Hey babe, I'm going to
surprises.
surprise you tonight.
Girls like surprises, but don't come in via the basement. Like,
And smash a window.
yeah, that's not a surprise. That's like, that's a
But
threat.
then maybe he thought it was like an emergency because she maybe wasn't answering the phone, or and the door was locked. So
No,
maybe
it's
he
'cause-
panicked.
It's because they had a fight. Like, yeah, he's just trying to be macho to be like, well, you wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't let me in. It's like, take the fucking hint. She doesn't want to talk to you. Or she's a
Yeah.
bit busy trying to get rid of the murderer that's apparently in her house. Like,
Yeah, she's probably a bit preoccupied.
yeah, like, if, oh. No, it's
But then the
not
police
romantic.
finally arrive and they literally turn up. Always terrible timing for the police. They turn up so late, like they do in every single
But
horror
how
film.
big is this town? Like, they knew as well. They were literally listening to her phone. She was
I
their
know.
priority, and then they just fucked off.
Yeah, it's like, John Saxon, man, where are you?
Come on.
Come on.
But they do turn up and find boyfriend dead in Jess's lap. It looks like they're both dead.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Yeah. Did we see him die? Did I completely miss that?
No, again,
We
it was
did.
off camera.
Yeah.
It was like where Peter was kind of like, he saw her and was trying to walk up to her, doing it in a really creepy way. He was not convincing anyone that he wasn't the killer. So, yeah, she was
Yeah.
fully convinced.
And so she defended herself.
Exactly.
But yeah, they find her and she's the final girl.
Mhm.
Definitely over with the boyfriend. And then they put her to sleep. But then again, the ending's a bit weird because we just see her sleeping for ages. And then we just hear them all hustling and bustling around her and talking, and we're just watching her sleep. Like,
And why would you keep her in that house?
yes, get her out, for fuck's sake. Also, why have they not
Yeah.
searched the house?
Yes, I also agree with that.
I know they're busy. Why have they not searched the house? And then they leave her in bed.
Yeah, that wouldn't
Then-
happen, would it?
I mean, I'd like to think not, but who knows? Who knows what protocol is? And then that copper like turns off the light, but I'm like pretty sure that's Billy.
Ah, do you think?
Because
'Cause I wasn't sure.
We didn't see his face. I feel like there's only one reason they'd hide. Because I literally watched this like an hour ago and I've already forgotten. Did he like turn off the light and then shut the door, but he was still in the bedroom?
No, I don't
Oh.
think so. He turns off the light and leaves her. And then the camera
Oh.
pans for a long time and then you hear Billy's voice.
Oh, my bad. I thought he shut himself in the bedroom. So I was like, oh, cool, now she's dead.
No.
Right. I
No,
missed
they
that one.
leave her. And yeah, and then you just hear Billy's voice. You just hear it from the attic, so you know that he's still alive. And that
But they-
Peter wasn't the killer.
But they haven't checked the attic. They haven't checked the house.
No,
Like-
maybe because it's just happened. But then what's Billy going to do? Like, what's his plan of action now?
But this is the thing, it's just happened. So, unless they think it was Peter, so they're like, well, what's the point in checking the house?
Maybe, but surely that's protocol, isn't it? Like, maybe not.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
Like, I'd check the house anyway. Like, not being funny, but also because like several people are still missing.
Yeah.
So like, check, have a look around. And again, they've probably been clearing the other bodies that they do know exist. But also, how are the
That's
bodies
true.
upstairs not smelling yet?
That's true.
It's just a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you would think, yeah, there's missing people. You would be like, okay, he's been in this house the whole time. Let's have a look in the house. Because
Yeah.
the other dead bodies they've managed to find that were in the room. So there's going to be other dead bodies somewhere else. So maybe it comes to the case where they do eventually find the bodies and maybe Billy just escapes.
yeah. Because this is the thing, I think even if they would have to search the whole house eventually, because you'd have to try and figure out how that person was living there. So they'd
Yeah.
have to like find evidence of where the person was sleeping and eating and everything else. So they would eventually have to go into the attic. Also, the smell, there would eventually be a very strong smell coming from the attic.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just really cold up there because it's winter. But
Maybe. But
Maybe
yeah,
around
I
April.
understand those questions.
yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
why like, the ending was just like, come on. But I suppose if they show you the entire police investigation, like,
Yeah.
it's
I
not
do
as if-
love at the end when the phone starts to ring again, though. I do like that little.
But it rang for ages, and I was like, "Can one of you answer it, please?" Like, and it got louder. I did like that touch that it was getting louder.
Billy's like, come on, someone answer me.
Like, hello, love me, love me.
I
Love
killed my
me.
sister, love me. I need someone else to love me.
I'm the only child to
Love
love now. Love me.
Well, yeah, he fucking killed his whole family. Now he's like lonely.
So why does no one love me? I only
You're
killed
a
them all.
you're a creepy guy.
You killed your family, so why don't you love me? No.
Absolutely not.
No,
Oh.
no, pass. But yeah, that was Black Christmas,
Whoop, whoop.
but 1974.
1974. Are you feeling more festive now that you've watched this?
Not really. I don't really want to pick up the phone anytime soon. But it is weird how
Me
like this
neither.
is literally a Christmas movie, but I'm not feeling very festive. Funny enough, don't know what it is about it.
I did like the Christmas touches. I like the carol singers. That was all good.
I did, but it is making me not want to be in my flat with a loft for Christmas. There's already weird noises up there. I don't need any help.
Mm.
Like, so you've seen the remake that was 2009?
2006.
2006, sorry. So what did you make of that?
So yeah, I actually, well, like I said at the beginning, I watched this before I watched the 1974 one. And yeah, it got critically panned, like people fucking hated it. But I did like that there was more of an origin story about Billy and Billy's family. That was quite cool. It was extremely violent, so violent, like completely making up for the original.
Yeah.
I liked that. And but yeah, like I haven't seen this in a long time, so I can't remember the specifics of why people hated it so much. But I think it was because it was more in that time in sort of early 2000s where they were sort of bringing out more of those sort of cheesy slasher films, and because people I think loved the original so much, because it was one of the first and people wanted to hold on to that.
Yeah.
And then it just got remade. I think maybe people didn't like that as much. But I think it's got a good cast. Like I don't hate the film, but I can see why people don't love it. But I'm glad that they did something slightly different with it, and it wasn't just like a complete remake. It was a bit more about like Billy's childhood, which I thought was quite cool. And again, yeah, sort of repeating myself really by just saying I liked that bit of it, and it was really fucking violent. But yeah, that's all I've kind of really got to say about it. And because I think the Black Christmas, the original, it's like considered one of the greatest slasher films of all time. So like doing a remake or associating another film with that name, I think is quite a big move.
Yeah, but like I would be quite interested to know more about Billy's background. So I do kind of like that they tried that, but yeah,
I think you'd quite like the remake.
Okay, it's the only one I haven't seen. So.
Yeah, so speaking of that, so you watched, is it 2020 or 2019 it came
2019.
out? 2019.
So yeah,
so I have seen this, but
yeah.
you've seen this very recently.
Like yesterday. So I got muddled up, watched the wrong one. It's kind of like watching two different films. Like the first half I got quite into, again, it's a sorority. I liked their girl power. I liked their sticking up for each other. There was a lot more like modern day like feminism as well, where they're like really standing up for their beliefs, and again like things that we can say now that we couldn't in the 70s, and things that we can do now. So they're just kind of like, you know, having a great time. And then the second half just kind of went really weird, and it kind of bugged me because like the first half was really, yeah, like laying everything out like one way. And it was like guys who were rapists and guys who were like always take things too far. And I think even one point they say something like women need to stay in line. So it is like this whole sort of toxic male. And then all of a sudden there was like a whole reason that they were toxic, and this whole fucking black magic side. And I was like, sorry, spoilers. And it just, to me, it was kind of like, actually, like the first half of the film is shit that women deal with every day. And that was scary enough because that was real. And then you kind of went ahead and just excused it and was like, oh, it's fine though, because it was black magic bullshit. But yeah, and it was like, that doesn't even, I don't know, it just annoyed me because I was like, you've taken something that is genuinely scary and now made it not scary whatsoever. What have you done? And it just felt like two very different films. So definitely worth a watch, I think. But you'll like, I don't know if you agree how much of it you remember, where it's just like very weird at the end.
Yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of it. I do know what you mean. I do prefer the first half. I think my problem with it is it almost gave the men an excuse as to why they act like that.
Yeah.
And
it did.
And I didn't like that. And I thought it was trying a bit too hard to try and be something it wasn't. And it was they really thought they were trying to say something with it. And I don't think I didn't buy it. Like I wasn't convinced by it at all.
No.
Way too hard. I think they were really trying for something that never happened.
No. Especially, yeah, like I say, considering the first half was something that is so scary and is so real. And then, as you say, they just gave an excuse, and it was just like, yeah, just a pathetic kind of excuse.
Yeah.
Which I think actually, as I was watching this, I was a bit worried because I was like, oh, if that was the remake. I didn't know till like afterwards it was like loosely based. I was like, that makes more sense. But I think when I was watching this and I was like, oh, they're just gonna give like the guy in the attic like a really weak excuse as to why he's like doing shit like this. And I thought it was just gonna be like a horror cliche. So I was like, oh, what are we gonna have? And then actually, because we didn't know a lot about him, it didn't end that way. So I was pleasantly surprised.
And there wasn't really a reason he was doing it, which makes it to me a lot more scarier.
Yeah.
But it's funny how in the franchise there's all those three films are completely different. You've got one which I think is personally genuinely scary, proper. It was the film that started slashers. It's iconic. And then you've got the second one, which is just gore, and it's got a pretty well-known cast, but there are a lot of faults with it. And then you've got the third one, which, as you say, Tal, loosely based, not, kind of has that same perception of girl power and girls sticking together, but like it just goes completely rogue. And I've never come across three so completely different films in a franchise before.
Yeah, no, it's really bizarre. It's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Well, we don't have Charlie this week to talk us through music, but you've already mentioned all the Christmas carols.
The Christmas carols when people were dying. That was pretty genius.
This year, though, every time we're shopping and we hear a Christmas carol, we'll be like, who's deaf? Who's deaf?
Yeah, where's Billy?
Billy, fuck off. Like, just in the middle of Tesco, fuck off, Billy. Like, run away. And I don't really have much to add about the makeup either, because everything I Googled, I think this is the problem with some older films, is unless they do a lot of makeup, you can't really find a lot about them now. So I do know the makeup was done by Bill Morgan. But outside of that, I can't really comment on about how he did any of it. Other than I think the only bits we really see are like the dead bodies, and I think they're pretty good, to be fair. Like, especially the girl with the bag in it around her head, she does genuinely, like, that is fucking terrifying, and she does look a bit creepy every time you see her. And I do like the injuries, but outside that, I can't even say how he did them. I can't give you any interesting facts this week, I'm afraid, because the older the film, the less there seems to be. They just keep their secrets to themselves.
You'd have a field day with the Black Christmas remake.
Oh my god. Fucking gore. And tell you what, we won't even talk about the film. I'll just talk SFX through the film.
Yeah, I think you'd have to.
So, do you think you would survive Black Christmas?
I know, because I would be in a complete sense of comfort being in my house. There would be no reason for me to be like alert or on guard. So that would be the best place, I think, to do it, would be in someone's house when they're comfortable, when they're familiar. Yeah, that's what's so scary about it to me. What about you?
I was gonna say I could be like a smart ass and be like, yeah, because I wouldn't be in a sorority. But assuming I'm in America in a sorority, I feel like I'd be fucked. And I think my problem is I'm a gobby shy, and every time
you just talk back on the phone with him.
That's
it.
I would antagonize them on the phone. I'd either start being like, "Oh, how are you, mate?" or I'd just start telling them
Billy.
off. Yeah, who's Billy? What are we chatting about Billy for?
Magnus.
I would just start being a dick, and then every time they started being like creepy and talking about pussy, I'd just be like, I'd start winding them up. So I'd be the first to go.
You'd be fucking like, Barb then.
I'd be Barb. They'd be like, you're a dick, and just fucking kill me. So yeah, I just think I'm actually too gobby for my own good when it comes to this film. I don't think I'd survive. I think I'd have a fucking target on my back. It's like...
oh. So, oh my god, none of us are surviving.
I just don't. Yeah, I just also because actually, even though Jess survived, she still didn't know that Billy was in the attic. So actually, although she survived, she still didn't even get the killer. So actually, I feel like there's more to it as well.
That's true.
So yeah, I'm gonna say between me trying to antagonize toxic men,
you just have a chat with him.
but because he wouldn't just have a chat back, and then he'd start saying something vulgar, and I'd just be like, well, that's not very nice. Or
yeah, how rude.
I'd try and be vulgar back, and he wouldn't appreciate my humor. So yeah, I just between that,
he might ask you out for a drink.
He might. I might accept, but between that and not knowing who it is, I'd have a problem. So I'd be like, am I just attacking every fucking guy now? Like, so yeah. Oh dear.
Okay, the moment of truth. What are we rating Black Christmas 1974 spooks out of 5? I will come to you first.
Well, you didn't want to read out the text from Charlie first.
Not yet.
Fuck. I really don't know. Because I kind of finished it and I was like, not that impressed. Now we've talked through it. Different bits, and I do kind of see what they were doing. I just don't know when I'm next going to watch it. Like, it hasn't struck me as that great a film.
Okay.
So I generally might go for like a 2.5, which
wow,
I feel like blasphemy.
Yeah, it's a slasher, mate.
It's a slasher, and it's like an iconic. It's like the original, and I'm just like not into it.
You don't have to be into it.
But I do. No, I don't. But you know what I mean. It's one of those where it's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I missed something. If
So what are you
anyone's
giving it, 2?
listening, I'm going to give it a 2. But if anyone's listening, go Chantal, you need to watch it again and focus on this bit. I'll give it a go. But I feel like I've missed something that everyone else is raving about it, and I'm like, yay.
Well, what about like the phone calls? Did you not think
I
they
think
were creepy, or were you just thinking it was just gibberish, so it's not scary?
No, I do think the phone calls are creepy. And again, I think it's creepy because it's something that could happen. I like the house mother. I think she's funny. I like Barb. I think she's funny. I do like, again, the girl in the attic who's got the bag around her face. I think that's really well done. I love the camera work in this. I'm talking myself up. I love the camera work and how they do that and how they make everything look that way. I love John Saxon's character and how he's like actually trying to help. And it's like really early police work. There was something else. I was like, I really love how they do that.
Can see tell she is having a mare. She doesn't know what to give it.
I love the eye shot. There's so much I do like about it, and I just didn't enjoy it. So I don't understand. I don't understand why. I don't know. Maybe a 3. I really
okay.
don't.
What do you not like about it?
It felt long, which is such a shit answer for me. It felt very back and
It
forth.
dragged?
It did drag. I feel like it was very back and forth. It wasn't like following a story, yes, but I think they were trying to hit it from too many angles. So it was bouncing back and forth a lot, which made it feel longer because it was like 2 minutes at the house, back to the police station, back to the house, and it was very, you like just get to the finale. I didn't like the boyfriend. I thought he was a dick, but again, it was kind of good that his character was a dick because it does work. I didn't like the fact it just ended, and I was like, "Where's my conclusion?" Which sometimes
you didn't like the
it.
ending.
I wasn't a massive fan of the ending.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was definitely a lot more I did like about it than I didn't. So I'm gonna change it to a 3.
Okay, we went on an emotional roller coaster.
I may have to take a lot of that out because nobody needs to know the inner workings of my brain.
Yeah, they do.
It's a tiresome place up there. What about you, Katie? What are you giving it?
I'm going to give this a 4.
Oh, interesting.
I really, really like this film. I think it's really scary. It's one film I think that really genuinely scares me. And there's a lot out there that does, but the one that actually really creeps me out is this film. And and I think that's quite, because obviously you, as horror fans, you watch a lot and you take things for what they are, and maybe you take them for granted quite a lot, but when you actually find a film that really scares you, it really sticks with you. And I love it for all the same reasons you do. The phone calls, I think especially, are just the most iconic. It's such an amazing idea to put it into a film. The cast, I think, are great. The directing, the cinematography, everything about it, like, there's so much about it I like. I do agree it's not a 5 because I do agree some of the ending was a bit questionable. I liked that he was still alive. I think that was really eerie, and like she's still in the house with him. But there were a lot of questions around that, like why was she by herself? Why wasn't the house searched? Like lots of those questions. But I don't think that takes it away enough for me to score it particularly low. So yeah, I really liked it, and I would watch this again. I would watch this again soon, because I haven't seen it a lot of times. So yeah, I really liked it.
Nice.
And we do, although Charlie isn't with us, we do have her scores. So she would give it 2 out of 5, which I thought she was going to give it lower. So I'm quite shocked about that. And she liked the end, apparently. So kind of different to us.
Yeah.
And she said, also glad my loft is locked up, so I'm surviving this one, lads. I'm also not a sorority girl, which also goes in my favour. But none of us are sorority girls.
None of us are sorority girls, but I I can't decide what Charlie would do on that phone call. I can't decide if she'd go my way and be gobby, or if she'd just hang up.
Yeah, I don't know.
And again, I think I always like, yeah, I'd be really gobby. Actually, I don't know what I'd do in the moment. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I just hang up. But I also
You'd just
wouldn't know
be
it was
so
a killer.
shocked, I think.
I also wouldn't know it was a killer, so I'd probably just be like, fuck off, mate.
Yeah, you're a pervert.
But yeah, interesting.
Interesting.
Amazing. That was our Christmas episode, Black Christmas.
The caller is in the house. The calls are coming from the house.
But yeah, in the meantime, check us out on all the socials, come and say hi. And yeah, until then, bye.
Merry Christmas. And don't die.
Don't fuck with the original.
Yeah, don't fuck with the original. Check your fucking loss.